watching or listening to Group Chat. I'm here today with my Hellix teammates, Melissa Vare.
Peace.
And Jessica Wu.
Hey.
And yeah, we'll just hop right into it. This is a new fun group chat. We're at my house on my couch, where we meet pretty often to work on all of the amazing things we do with Hellix and Girls Art Show. We're chilling. We got machos in here. Mm-hmm. It's all good. It's a Sunday. Yeah. So I guess my first question, the one on the books that we had, and we'll just see where it goes from here, was, and whoever wants to answer this first can just go. How do you guys feel about being creatives in Los Angeles?
I feel like it's really awesome because it's a city with so many creatives and so many different viewpoints and a city full of transplants. So it's like, I personally as a creative have met so many people from different walks of life, and it's such a great breeding ground for creativity because it's constantly pushing you, constantly inspiring you. Like, I don't have the same perspective week to week, month to month, ever. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really amazing. I think sometimes also it's like you have to pull back from that because it's also really easy to compare yourself right, and feel like you're not enough or you're not doing this, and this, but you never know where someone is on their journey. Yeah. So you can't compare yourself like that all the time.
True. I feel like living here, there's so much competition in whatever industry, creative industry there is. But I also love going to events and feeling that synergy between creatives, because I feel like the community is so stronger now than ever. Mm-hmm. And it's cool to bounce back ideas between creatives within different industries. So I feel like it's a good place to breed even more creativity.
Nice. When you say stronger now than ever, I guess what do you mean, and what do you think contributed to that?
I feel like it's a lot to do with maybe where we stand as a nation. It's allowing people to talk about topics that may be a little bit touchy, or nowadays it's more common to attend talking circles and really talk about feelings and emotions. Yeah. So that might have a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Even things like mental health and anxiety and depression, that wasn't something that was popular. Even having a therapist wasn't something that used to be popular to talk about, and now it's yo, my therapist said this. And and it's
so it's normalized.
Yeah. Which is a good thing to normalize.
Yeah. We all going through shit we need to unpack. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely talking circles. I know all of us have been to Stronger, coincidentally. That's what it's called. Yeah. And that, I was telling my cousin actually the other day, that going to Stronger for 2 years or a year and a half really made a difference in my life personally, who I am, being able to just have the confidence to be vulnerable and to listen to others actively, and to really discuss real shit, right, and share real opinions and ideas and learn from each other, and having that honest conversation,
and to be in an environment where it doesn't even matter what you say, you can say it and it's safe and it's comfortable and it's accepting.
One thing that I have been thinking about a lot lately is are just for a really long time, I guess. I have all these being a creative, I have dreams of non-traditional, a non-traditional career path.
Right.
And that can be challenging to turn into reality and go after the things that I want to do. Even being a writer for as long as I've been, and doing music and putting on shows and all that kind of stuff, that shit's hard. And thinking, I've been struggling or thinking about whether you continue to push forward and try to do the things that you want to do and still support yourself, or fall back and maybe do something that's more available but a little more traditional and away from that lane. Do you guys ever struggle, I guess, with that?
Yes.
And how do you balance like the basically like paying the bills and also following your dreams or your purpose?
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I think the biggest fear is not being able to pay your bills.
Yeah.
Being a freelancer, doing what you want to do. But also the greatest thing about living in the city is that you don't need to conform to a traditional career path. And you being like talented in so many different aspects, I feel like you can make money doing the things that you love. You don't necessarily need to settle for working under a company or a big corporation.
Yeah. I guess like it's there. Like I can kind of see it in the distance, but like having the confidence to go out and also having like the work ethic to like make that shit happen is like, that's a mind game.
Yeah. Because it, as like a freelance creative, it truly is like feast or famine.
Yeah.
And you can only feast when you hustle hard enough
Yes.
to feast. And that's scary because sometimes like a bitch get tired and lazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's all on you.
Yeah.
And I personally, like, I feel like a lot of creatives that I talk to and that I'm friends with are like, the corporate 9 to 5 is kind of soul sucking, and it especially and like especially
it's very soul sucking. Sorry for any potential people who want to hire me, but it's very soul sucking, or it can be. There's been like we met each other in the office, and it had its issues just like any business does, but it was also like probably the best environment that I've ever been in terms of a 9 to 5 corporate situation. So I mean, it can be soul sucking, but it can also be like an incubation for growth if it's the right environment.
Yeah. Right. And that in and of itself is hard to find.
Yes.
And like I struggled with that for a while because I really wanted to find my passion and purpose and fulfillment in my creative job, which is why I wanted to become a creative as opposed to like an accountant. Sorry, Mom. But,
and brother.
and brother. My brother is an accountant. But actually what really helped me was like finding hella looks and finding girls and like finding you guys. Like I feel like I was able to strike a better balance between like, okay, I can do this job thing because I know that it's like for a brand, it's for a company, like it's work. But like pursuing other things is like that I'm actually passionate about and have creative license in is what has given me fulfillment. Now I feel like it's just a matter of like, how do I bridge that so that it also pays the bills?
Right.
Yeah.
I think at least for like you and me, we're both copywriters. So like having a job that's corporate, but also like has creativity in it, like rooted in it, has been nicely like beneficial. So I feel like it like eventually it will naturally just be like that for you. Like it'll naturally just merge and you'll be your own boss or something.
Right. It's just about like gaining that experience. So it's like, hey, I know how to write an invoice. I know how to like pursue an invoice if a client doesn't pay, and like building that like client list.
Right.
So
is that something you're looking forward to doing in the future?
Hopefully. I think right now it's like I'm trying to build connections and a network and like a client base, and then hopefully like in the future feel confident enough to like take that leap that you're talking about.
I've been super iffy about that. Since leaving my last job, I'm like in that struggle of should I shoot out these resumes hoping that something will stick and work for another person, or should I just continue my freelance work and keep making money doing gigs here and there, hoping that that'll cultivate into something greater. And to be honest, I feel so much more fulfilled, and I'm finding way more productivity in my days doing these freelance work, these freelance jobs. So I want to continue this path.
Yeah. It's scary, but I'm like kind of in a very similar spot.
Yeah.
I'm still like applying to full-time stuff, but also like trying to like in the meantime hurry up and get this freelance shit together like before anything moves forward. But we'll see.
And it's like you could always take a full-time job and then keep building your own freelance thing, and then eventually be like make that transition. And
like what is sleep, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there's that too. The thing I worry about too is like getting sick. Like what if I'm freelance and something health-wise happens to me?
You don't
like,
have
that
those
terrifies
benefits
me
anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hot yoga. That's my doctor. For now. No, seriously, that's some real shit.
Yeah.
I wish healthcare wasn't the way it is in this country.
Same.
Yeah, it's sad. But yeah. I don't know if I've ever asked both of you guys this, or even like I guess I don't know if we talked about it at the same time, but how did you both get into your creative fields? I guess like not even the fields, but like what was the earliest memory like you remember of being like, oh, I want to write, or you being like, oh,
You do so much, actually.
No, or like you, Mel, being like, I have a visual talent in all these so many different capacities. Like, how did you guys even get there? I guess.
So when I was a very dark 12-year-old, the first memory I have of writing is I used to write these really dark, morbid poems when I was 12.
Emo phase, right?
Yeah, my emo phase before the Japanese punk rock phase. You guys know about that. But I remember like that was the first time I felt like connected to something outside of just like my day to day. And like, granted, I was 12, but that was when I first realized like I enjoyed writing. And throughout high school and even in college, I worked for like my school newspaper, and I actually entered college with a journalism major.
Nice.
And then I think maybe 2 semesters into that, I realized I hate this. I'm not objective at all, and I have a really hard time like just focusing on like news reporting.
Yeah.
So I switched to emphasize in public relations, and then I realized I've liked fashion all along, and I was like, oh, maybe I do both of these things and double major. So I studied both of those in college, and the funny thing is when I became a copywriter, I honestly just kind of fell into it. I was so scared throughout college of like being the Asian kid in the family that did not pursue the traditional like accountant, doctor, literally anything very like structured. And I was like, I have to get a job when I get out of college, or I'm going to be a failure, and I'm going to be what everyone kind of like was afraid that I would be in some weird way. So I did all these internships in different areas of fashion. And the funny thing is I applied for a buying internship when I was about to graduate. And the period had already closed, but the recruiter was like, hey, actually your experience could be fit for this full-time role. It's a copywriter role. And I was like, what that? Like,
Same. I was like, I'm not a lawyer. But anyway.
And I wish that copywriting was talked about in college, or just like more, because I'm like, there's so many different types of copywriting. And it's funny because it just happened to fuse everything that I was good at and that like I loved.
Yeah.
So that's really how it happened.
Cool. For me, growing up, my grandma was always sewing. So like just that noise was always my background noise, the sewing machine. So I thought I wanted to pursue fashion going into college. Being at FITM, I realized that I don't like the industry, and I gravitate more towards creating spaces and environments for people to live and thrive in. So I think that's what veered me into interior design and graphic design. I've always been one to like use Paint, Microsoft to do sketches, or like I was always drawing as a kid. So realizing that I can make money doing these things, I'm like, oh, dope, that could be a career.
Nice.
Even though my parents might not understand.
Yeah.
I think it's cool to be able to work that creative muscle and be happy doing the jobs that I'm doing.
Nice.
How did you get into copywriting?
Very similar to you. I was I actually went to college for elementary education, and but I was always interested in fashion, like since I was a little girl. So I was doing a lot of fashion internships because I was like, I'm in LA, like fuck this shit. I'm about to be like Lauren from the Hills. Like y'all think I'm about to be a teacher. Anyway, so I was doing like a lot of internships while I was in school. And then I ended up starting a blog because everyone started a blog back then.
Right.
And I was doing like outfit pictures and writing articles about music and style and different like reviewing runway shows and shit like that. And looking for a full-time job at the same time. And my job agent sent me a copywriter role. And I was like, what is a copywriter? And then she was very nice and she explained it to me. And I was like, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's how I got into it. I started out doing product descriptions and then just kind of grew over the years from there.
It's a lot of process of elimination, I feel.
Oof, yeah.
Figuring out what you like and what you don't like.
But I feel very strongly that the universe has my back even when I don't have my back. And I feel like it will give me the no's that I need to keep me on the right path and the yeses that I need to keep me on the right path. And if I fuck up those yeses, hopefully they'll come back around. I believe that they will. But I feel like I was guided in that direction for a reason. Yeah. And that was where I was meant to go. Even recently getting laid off, I feel like that was like definitely meant to happen. Like to like kind of push me to where I'm going now. Right. So yeah, I feel like it was, I like to say it was me, but I also feel like it was kind of written before it happened. Yeah.
It's a beautiful way to look at it because it can be really discouraging sometimes to not see the picture or see the path clearly as you're embarking on it.
Oh, yeah. But then you look back years down the line, you're like, oh, this like always made sense.
Yeah.
But it's scary when you're like navigating through it in the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I also want to, we're kind of jumping around, but also sitting down. Anyway, I wanted, my jokes are so bad right now.
I'm over, you can't see me, but I'm like,
wait, what'd you say?
You couldn't see me because I was behind Mel, but I was like, nice.
Just likes my jokes. Damn, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. So we kind of, I guess, talked about a little bit with like the way things are happening in this country. I mean, the world has been fucking tough. Side story. When I was in high school, I went to a performing arts school and they were like super serious about educating us about the world. All these little Oakland kids educating us about things that are going on. And I remember learning about all these like genocides and like crazy things that happened in history. And coming home one day and literally like sitting on my mom's bedroom floor and just crying. Like, the world is so fucked up. Like, like, this is terrible. How am I, like, it's not good like I thought it was. Just having that realization that, you know, just the reality of things as a dramatic teenager. But fast forward, now we're adults and we're in this current administration in the White House, and there's lots of crazy things going on. But a lot of these things has like brought us together and amplified a lot of our voices in ways that we probably didn't realize were going to happen. But with all of the really terrible things that are going on, how do you guys feel about, I guess, how our generation expresses that and how our generation uses the tools that we have, like social media or creativity, to kind of start those conversations? And like, does it even matter? Like, I guess I kind of think about that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you guys feel about those things?
More often than not lately, I've been feeling really angry, really terrified, and most of all, really helpless. Like, I feel like social media is great because it does allow you to connect and for people to be exposed to things that might otherwise not be as easy to like gain access to, like news about things that are happening around the world. But like, it's like, I feel like is the only thing that I can do to like spread awareness about it. Is that even changing anything? Is that really helping anything? Because there's been such an increase in like scary, violent events and shootings and terrorism that's been going on that like it makes you really wonder like how much of an impact can you have. And like you can use social media to inform other people that these things are happening, but it's like how do you like do something with it, like not just like share or like add to story.
Right.
And I don't know, like I think I'm still actually no, I think the most important thing is currently with everything going on to educate yourself about the politicians and people who have power to change things, and to educate yourself and inform yourself, so that the only thing it seems like we can truly do to hopefully change the current administration is to educate ourselves and like to vote to change it, to get certain people out of office. But it takes so much time that like honestly it can get real depressing, and it makes you feel like you can't really do anything.
Right.
I wish my answer was more positive than that.
I feel like you do a really good job at informing yourself and others about what's happening. I mean, social media has become super powerful in that sense. And I mean, I agree with you. I feel like helpless because I'm like, how can I help the situation without being there, or like without actually helping the victims, or I don't know.
It's tough.
It is tough.
Like it
I
makes you
say,
feel like you should show up somewhere.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that donate like immediately when they see stuff. They're like, okay, who can I donate to? That's like reputable and like actually on the ground doing the work that needs to be done. But I'm torn because it is important to be informed, and that's amazing that we're able to share and to like kind of have a voice to these platforms, especially when we rally behind something as a collective. But at the same time, I feel like there's also like ego mixed up in it. Like, oh, I need to like always be the one that's sharing this thing, or like throwing my opinion at something, or I don't know. It's just sometimes it feels like it's not genuine. And that's where I like get kind of like turned off. Like I need to put my phone down today.
Right.
Today's enough. It's enough.
Yeah. It is
You
a
don't
lot
wanna-
of,
Yeah.
sorry. I feel like in what you're saying and saying, there's like a lot of anger that doesn't need to be projected as anger.
Yeah.
So I see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is like all the time we have. So we're going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching Group Chat. I am here with Jessica Wu and Melissa Vare, and they are amazing. And I'm Neijah Lanae, and together we are Hella Looks. Have a good one.
Thank you.